Yes, sir, we're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Soap Studios CW Arrow television series Arrow action figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beasts, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
And a real quick look at the side of the box. You can see it says Soap Studio at the top, and it says Arrow television series, Arrow 1/12 action figure, season 1, figure 002, figure 2. And there's a look at the opposite side. Alright, so I've got Oliver Queen, aka Green Arrow, out of the package. This is Soap Studio's second offering from their CW television series 1/12 action figure line. The first figure was The Flash, which I reviewed right before this guy. If you haven't checked that out, please do. And this is figure number 2 in the line. And I think this guy is okay. Definitely piques my interest. Just like The Flash did, there are some things that I really like. There's some things that I dislike. So let's get into his accessories. So it's my understanding that the fella that plays Green Arrow is a Canadian. I believe his name is Stephen Amell. I'm not sure if it's pronounced Stephen or Stephen, but he's been rocking out on Green Arrow or an Arrow since 2012, which was 2 years before the Flash TV show debuted. And like I mentioned in the Flash review, these guys have appeared on each other's shows and done some crossovers, which has been pretty cool. But out of the package, he comes with 2 open hands with the fingers slightly spread, just like the Flash did. And there's a quick look at those wrist pegs, very small. And then he's got a set of hands that are both open and semi-cupped. This one is open a little bit. The right hand is open a little bit more than the left hand. I would assume these will be for holding his bow and arrows and stuff like that. I'm going to swap on the next set of hands and then get back into these, I guess. But these were fine, and swapping them on was no issue. And he's got a set of fisted hands, and these look good. I think these are nicely proportioned. I had some issues with the hands on the Flash as far as them being a little oversized in my opinion. And I think they may have scaled at least these fists down a little bit better on this particular figure. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then he comes with a left hand that is, I would assume this one is for when he's releasing his arrow, when he's letting off with the bow and arrow. That's how that looks. Either that or he's in Italian mode and he's talking with his hands and he's like, oh, hey, paisan. And you know what? While my racism might have been accurate, I've got that wrong, because he should actually be holding the bow with the left hand and shooting with the right hand. So I don't know that that's right. Well, we'll see. So of course one of his other accessories is his trusty bow. Now I'm not sure how accurate this is to the show, but it does look very good. It is nicely detailed. You can see a couple of different colors and some textures and some wrapping on there. And they even actually have a real working string here on the bow, which is something that a lot of companies kind of skimp out on. I wonder, I never had the Mezco Green Arrow. Does he have a good working bow with the string? Let me know in the comments below. I don't know. But yeah, this looks good. He also comes with his quiver, and I'm not sure if this is damaged in some way. Was this supposed to be here? Because it came out the pack like this, and I'm not really sure what's what with this, or even how to put it on. I'm gonna have to look at some images. There were no instructions in these included with these figures, by the way. But this looks good. You can see it's green at the top, and it's a sort of like, I don't know, bluish, purplish color. It looks fine. It's hard to the touch. And I'm losing the focus. But yeah, it is a hard plastic, so durable. And he's also packed in with 6 arrows. You have 3 of the longer ones like this, which look really great. You can see it's green and sort of like a lime green there at the back. And the tip is somewhat sharp to the touch, but these look cool. You get 3 long ones and you get 3 short ones here too. Same design, just shorter. Same color scheme, should I say. And these look great. And the shorter ones can be sheathed right here on this little pouch on his right side. So that's nice, and they stay in there pretty firm. I mean, obviously if you turn them upside down they might fall out, but no, not really. It's actually pretty snug. So that looks cool. And I think I got this right. According to images that I saw, the quiver should be draped on his shoulder this way. And then I did realize that there was some Velcro here for you to attach this strap to the bottom of the quiver. It's not the greatest, but it works, because I think that this leather part is supposed to cover the entire strap and line up perfectly here like this, but I don't know. Good luck doing that. And then I think it should snap on like that. I believe that's how it goes. We can straighten this out. Alright, let's get the arrows in there. Unfortunately, it's going to always look like your guy's running low on arrows unless you have some other arrows around. I think I might actually have a few arrows from some other props in a box somewhere, because this would look a lot cooler if it was full. But at least they gave you some real arrows, unlike a lot of companies doing fixed arrows in the quiver. At least you have some actual real arrows. This is right. So he should be holding the bow with the left hand and reaching up with the right hand to get his arrows and shoot his bow. And then that other hand that I was showing you is actually for another one of his props, another one of his accessories actually. So yeah, he can hold this bow pretty tightly. Like the Flash figure, I'm not really happy with the way the hands hinge on the wrist. This is actually pretty decent here, but I wish there was a greater range of motion on the hinge for the wrist. But I'll get into that when I go over all the articulation. And it should be noted, I'm not a fan of how this strap fits on here. It just seems really flimsy and like thin, and you know, at some point you're gonna break that, no question about it. And I don't really like the way this works. I wish it was just one thicker piece with a nice large piece of Velcro to keep this secure. You see that's already coming off. But anyway, so yeah, that other hand that I showed looks like it's for holding this little book. So he comes with this little book here. I'm not sure what the significance of this is, if it's a hit list or what. But let me know in the comments below. That actually may be what it is, because I see some names written in here. I think this might be his revenge list. If I'm not mistaken, Green Arrow is pretty much with the shits in the show. I believe in the first few seasons he was actually killing people, so he was not playing any games. And then I think after he started messing with Flash and some of the other superheroes, then he toned it down and stopped killing people. But yeah, you can see he can hold that book with no issue. There we go. So that looks pretty cool. And then I think that's how that should go. You know, like I said, it's really cool that they did add in the working string. So this looks pretty authentic. I would take a few more minutes to really make this look better, but I'm actually having a good time messing around with this guy. The only thing I really don't like is this strap and the fact that it won't stay with this Velcro. This Velcro is very weak, and this is just a bad design. I don't like that. But I do like the authenticity of this. And, you know, that does look pretty cool. Again, I could get this better, but you know, when you get yours in hand and you mess around with it, you can make it look really cool. All right, moving right along. And his final accessory is an additional head. So let it be known, I'm gonna look at his deco and everything here too, but let it be known that this feature with the hood is pretty cool. The way you can kind of slide it off and it'll sit nicely there. Because it actually has some bendy wire around the rim of the hood, so you can actually position this however you see fit, and you can make it tighter, and you could droop it down over his eyes, and you could really play with that and make it look cool. But I really like how that works, especially in comparison to the cowl that they gave us with the Flash, which I didn't really like at all. I like this feature here with the hood. I'm just a fan of hooded characters in general. When the hood looks good and it sits right on action figures, it's something to behold. But yeah, so looking at this head sculpt here, very soft, just like the head sculpts on the Flash. The likeness to the actual actor is there a little bit. It's not that great Green Arrow's got one of the worst disguises ever, by the way, too. He's literally just has his face out with some paint over his eyes. Come on now. Anybody that knows you knows it's you. Stop it. But yeah, there's a good look at the masked head, if that's what you want to call it. And like I said, I'm not a fan of the fact that the entire head and neck is one piece. It definitely limits the articulation, but there's the other head. And you can see that peg hole is very small, so it's kind of difficult getting the additional head placed in there. One sec. And there he is, quote unquote, unmasked. And again, extremely soft. Not the worst, but definitely not the best. And with something like this, with a expensive figure with cloth clothing, and you're trying to pull out all the stops, you have to nail the head sculpt. You've got to absolutely nail it. And they didn't quite do that here. And one more time, you can see how nicely that can sit, being that you can articulate the rim of the hood. And the other thing I didn't like was there wasn't much variation between the two head sculpts. I would have liked the head that came attached to him out of the package to have a more angry, serious look. You know, he looks real soft. And again, Green Arrow was like pretty tough in a TV show. This one looks like he's smiling a little bit more. I don't know, looks kind of different, but there's not enough variation between the two. You know, he looks way too soft here. Not only does the actual paint work and everything look soft, but he looks soft. You know, make him look tough. Make him look, you know, imposing. All right, taking a good look at his deco and articulation, I really do like this costume and the look of it and the fit of it, and I think they did a really good job with both costumes, actually. The costume on the Flash and Green Arrow here, they both look great and have a decent amount of give, so that way you can actually really work the articulation on this body, because both do have rather well articulated bodies. And I noticed that there was a working zipper here on his jacket, so I assume that you could actually get this off. I haven't tried to take it off yet. Let me take it off and see what's what. And you know what, it does zip all the way down here, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to come loose. But you can see the body under there, and you can see how well articulated that upper torso is. It's got some straps underneath here. I do want to take this jacket off, but I don't want to ruin the jacket, so I'm going to zip it back up. So you know what? It's not a good idea to try to take this jacket off. I done screwed up the jacket here and took the zipper off, and I've been spending the last like hour trying to put the zipper back on, and I can't get it back on right now. So I'm annoyed. This is deja vu. And at least I didn't let this lapse into the next day. But you can see what's going on under here. You know, I'll be your guinea pig. So that way you don't make these mistakes with your own figure. Boog did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that. But yeah, you can see how well articulated this body is. Head and neck is one solid piece, so it'll rotate, turn left to right, look down, but not look up as great. Again, I've said this many times, I wish the head was separate from the neck. There's a ball joint at the shoulders that'll get the arms up pretty far, and you can get them up pretty high. You can spin them, but I wouldn't recommend that because you will stress the material here. But you can see upper torso articulation. You can rotate. You get a rotation at the waist. You get a decent ab crunch. Ball joint here at the pelvis, so like a T-joint I think is under there. Legs will come out pretty far. You can get a decent split. Obviously, you don't want to pull this too much because you will stress or tear the material there. But there is a double jointed knee. There is rotation, a pivot on the foot. You get a toe joint. I don't really like how this looks. It sort of looks like a prosthetic foot or something like that, but you just have to pull down this part here. This portion of the boot is a separate part, and you just have to pull it down as you articulate the feet. But he's pretty well articulated, I will say that, and the suit does have a nice amount of give. And I didn't even go over the elbows, but you get a very nice deep double jointed elbow, same as the Flash. I showed the arm out of the socket on the Flash, so it is a very deep double joint, and you get swivel and not really the greatest hinge on the wrist. That is one of my gripes. You kind of have to half it off that peg there to kind of get that hinge going. And I should note that this is a separate part here. You can actually take the hand off and pull this little wrist guard with the little arrows off if you wanted to, And yeah, so the deco looks good. A lot of different textures. The color scheme and everything is good, but you know, delicate. There are some delicate parts here that you definitely need to be careful with. All right, one quick size comparison and I'm out of here. That whole debacle with the zipper really took the wind out of my sails for this here. But on the far left, we have the Mezco Joker. I'm just kind of looking at some more slender bucks so you can see how they compare with these two slender bucks for the Flash and Green Arrow here. I believe they're using the same buck for both of these guys. And shout out to Steve, who commented on my other video to say that he believes that Green Arrow should be larger. He's taller and a little more girthier than the Flash. So maybe it was a mistake for them to use the same buck for both of these guys. But like I've mentioned, it is a very well articulated buck, and it does lend for a lot of articulation and posability and all of that good stuff. So that is cool. And I'm sorry, David, not Steve, David Marrero. But yeah, and then you have the Deadpool Red Pool right next to Green Arrow, and on the far right, the Star Wars Black Series Bosk. So Green Arrow, I don't know. I think I like Green Arrow a little bit more than the Flash, but you know, they both have great posability and some great fun factor, but delicate. You know, you got to be careful. I'm not even sure that I did the right thing with his quiver yet. You know, I got to explore these things a bit more as I get ready to maybe do some displays with the two of them. But, you know, definitely not as good as Mezco as far as the quality of the face sculpts, of the material, all of that stuff. I mean, you can see the stark contrast between the two, whereas these figures may end up costing more than the average Mezco figure, which doesn't make much sense to me. They need to lower the price point, and then I think a lot of people would warm up to these and be open to purchasing them and wanting to purchase more. But yeah, again, shout out to Benji C. Shout out to the folks at Soap Studios for providing these figures. I'm happy to have them and have reviewed them. And thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell down there. And until next time, peace.